Hi, so this video is to show you how to do the initial setup and how to clean, maintain your Gizmo 17, 22 and 24 mechanical mod. When you first receive a Gizmo, it'll very likely look something like this, and you will either be provided with a battery that's been prepared for you. We'll be using your own battery, but onto that in a moment. So if you get a prepared battery, it will be trimmed at the bottom. The insulation will be just taken away at the bottom. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So you'll also be given a magnet which is already glued into an insulator for you. That's to stop the magnet shorting to the side of the Gizmo. So we remove the switch. Pop your magnet on the negative side of the battery so that the magnet is touching the battery, not that way around. So the magnet makes contact there. Pop your battery in, positive down, just slide straight in. Pop your switch back on, and then whatever 510 tank you want to put in there that's less than 17 millimeters, just pop him in. The Gizmo, again more about this later, but the Gizmo now has a spring-loaded firing pin, which means that it can be tightened down to remove all of the wobble. You can see that wobbling about there, and if you just tighten it until the wobble's gone, that's tight enough. Don't go and squeeze it up as hard as you can, because when you come to unscrew the tank, you're going to leave the bottom in there and make a mess. And that, as you can hear, is working. That's basically it. That's all you've got to do when you first receive your Gizmo. So if you're going to prepare your own battery and you didn't purchase the pre-prepared one, hopefully you'll be using something like this. It's an eFest 18500. It's a red battery with a button top. It must be a button top battery. Okay. And as you can see, the casing, the plastic casing of the battery is folded around the bottom area there. Now if I just get a magnet out of here so that I can show you. When you come to put the magnet on there, a lot of the times they do work, but sometimes you find that the casing there, the insulation around the outside, actually stops the magnet making contact. And all we need to do, this is very, very simple. You get a razor blade and you literally just trim around the outside of the battery like that. That took about 15 seconds. All done. And then the magnet can make perfect contact with the bottom of the battery. That's what we're all about, perfect contact here. Isn't going to hurt anything. Nothing's going to slide out or move or anything like that. This is fully bonded to the side, so you don't need to worry about that. So there's a prepared battery you've done yourself. Okay, so we'll just pop that back together. Pop that on there. So quick, so simple. Screw the button on. Again, with the button you don't need to murder it up, just nice and finger tight. And there you go, you're away. So I'll pull the green one out now, and I'll show you how to take one completely to pieces in order to clean it, maintain it, fiddle with it. Battery out. On the underside you've got a cap with 2 Phillips screws in. So simply remove the 2 Phillips screws. You'll notice that the cap on the bottom there has a little breather, tiny breather hole in it, just there. Pop the cap off. The cap has a piece of brass, and that basically makes your electrical contact between the bottom of your, or the positive of your battery. See if I put the battery in. So that basically makes the contact between there and your firing pin. And and that's one area that we need to keep clean. So the firing pin is there. Just there you go, pop that out. And I'm embarrassed to say that I'm not very good at cleaning these. I don't clean them very often, to be honest, and you can see that's covered in liquid there, so we'll give that a little clean up. But that's your spring-loaded firing pin, as you can see. It'll move in and out there, and that allows your tank to be screwed down so that it will not wobble about. Piece of kitchen towel, and I've got a solvent here. This is just a contact cleaner, you know, we can give that a little squirt of contact cleaner and clean the liquid off. You can see the dirt coming off there onto that. Just make sure he's nice and clean. So your firing pin's all nice and clean, pop him there. You can remove the 510 completely, and what you need to do is to put a screwdriver in one of the slots just at the side there. Okay, there's an insulator, a black Delrin insulator in the middle. That stops the spring pin making contact with the 510 itself. So this screwdriver head needs to go into the slot at the side and simply undo your 510 and pop him out. And that is completely covered in all sorts. So you can leave the insulator, the Delrin insulator, on the inside of that to save getting it at a state, taking it out. A little bit of contact cleaner on a cotton bud. Just clean him up in there, around there. Look at that, filthy. I can say this hasn't been done for weeks and weeks. So give that a clean up. I'm not going to do too good a job on it now. Inside there. And then while we're on, we'll do this contact across the bottom of the cap here. Make sure that's nice and clean. Any alcohol based solvent will do this. You can do top of your battery, contacts, your magnet. Make sure everything that makes a contact nice and clean. You can give the inside a bit of a clean up if you like while you're in here, because this will get, over a period of time, you will get a little bit of liquid condensation stuff in there. Give your threads a clean up around here. Another thing that you can do is to actually dismantle your button. You've got a magnet and a screw which holds the magnet in place, and just undo the screw. Leave the magnet on there and the button comes out, and again you can use your cotton bud to clean up inside here. And you can see the state of this now, and around here. Okay, all done. Pop that back in there. Oh, pop that back in there. Put your screw back in. Tighten him up. And that's nice and free. You'll notice on here I've used a brass screw. You can, nice thing about Gizmo, we've made it so that you can tweak things slightly. Some people insist, although it's made around an eFest battery, it's designed around an eFest 18500. People do use slightly shorter batteries for whatever reason, they just happen to have them handy. And that might mean that the button doesn't actually contact the top of the battery, the magnet. So that's got a different screw in, a slightly longer headed screw, because the normal screws are just raised top. This is just a normal big top on it, and that will reduce the throw a little bit, and if you've got a slightly shorter battery in, that will enable it to make contact there. So to put it back together, you're going to pop your 510 in there and just tighten him up with your screwdriver. Now this 510 does need to be reasonably tight because it relies on a connection to the body, so give it a few nips backwards and forwards to make sure it's tight. Pop your spring-loaded firing pin back in there, and your nice clean cap back in place. 2 screws. One battery, positive down. 1 button. A little bit about the button actually. This is our low pro version, which we're just about to release. The outer is exactly the same. It is literally the button itself. We have noticed that a lot of people are modifying the buttons to give a shorter throw. So in order to do this safely, I redesigned a little button here, and it will shorten the throw down massively. But also the head of the button is just below the outer part, which means that it's going to be incredibly difficult to fire it accidentally, even though that is a very short throw. The whole thing is very low profile because of the countersink in there. Your thumb still fits in and activates it nicely. Pop the tank in there, and you can hear that working, but you can put something across, press down hard, and it won't fire it. So we think this is the safe way of reducing the throw, giving yourself a smaller button if you prefer that feel, and that's called our low pro button. So that's your basic maintenance of the Gizmo. Here we've got the Gizmo 22, 24, exactly the same externally, just a different size hole for different size tanks. You've either got a 22mm hole or 24mm hole, and as you can see, this still fits nicely into the palm of your hand, even though it does potentially take a pretty big tank there. And that's my own, that's one of the prototypes that I made, and that about I think that about covers everything that you need to know to assemble when you buy new and clean and maintain your Gizmo. Thanks for watching.